on row 4. TJ McDonald and Ben Cochran on row 5. Then Blake Anglis and Kiki Yuen on row 6. Khaled Saab and Oliver Phillips with Ross McDonald rounding out the grid. Although we are missing Ross McDonald, the young Irishman from Dundalk, is having a few issues getting going, and I think he may, well, if he gets out at all, it'll be after the rest of the pack have gone by. So the rest of the field, the remaining 14 drivers, come through the Mike Wilson complex with the number 23, Georgi Dimitrov, alongside the number 52, Northern Irishman, Tom Edgar. On to the start line, in the tram lines, and lights are out. We're off and racing. Through turn number 1. Oh, it's very, very close for second and third. They all make it under the bridge, though. And that is precision driving at its finest. Dimitrov kept the lead, but then the battle for second, and they're all going to get round turn 3 cleanly. Yes, they do. Now they plunge down the hill towards the first hairpin, and Dimitrov has got a great break on Edgar in second, and a few moves trying to be made there in the middle of the pack, and that's the very brightly liveried number 84 of Blake Anglis getting muscled wide. In the background, there's the top 5 or 6, though, all settling down quickly with the BMR cart in the middle of your screen there of Dominic Bush, and in front of that cart, that is number 57 of Sam Heading. So that's the M Sport 57, leading the Dominic Bush number 309. They are in 4th and 5th, and in front of them, that's the number 319 cart of William Ellswood for Coles Racing. But Dimitrov and Edgar are already pulling clear. So a good first lap for the 2 front row drivers. Everybody else scrambling behind. And that is Ellswood holding off Heading. And I think Sam Heading wants to get going. And, Khaled Saab makes a move. There's Ivan Lomliev. Is that number 27? Yes, that's the global karting number 27 of Ivan Lomliev. And he is right down at the back, quite a ways back, so he's obviously been off somewhere. Change for third, Sam Heading. Passes William Ellswood. Now, Heading gets his head down and sets off after the top 2. He's got 1 second to make up at least on Edgar, and another second to make up on the flying Dimitrov. Now, Georgi Dimitrov won the latest round of the European Junior X30 Championship, and sometimes that your first big win can just propel you and increase your confidence levels. It looks like it may have done the same for Georgie here, because he is already streaking away from his teammate Tom Edgar. There's the chasing pack coming down the hill towards the first hairpin. Heading is 0.8 of a second behind Edgar, with Bush, Ellswood, and number 333 of Alicia Barrett. So Alicia Barrett in that with the purple and pink crash helmet, and the Fusion Motorsport kart. As Dominic Bush deals with William Ellswood going into the Fullerton S's. Down towards Bobby Game corner. And in the middle of that pack, Alex Lay in the number 17 kart, the black and orange race suit. That's the DKR kart in the Dartford karting entry. And Alex Lay in 5th place. Make that 6th place, rather. Just behind Ellswood, just in front of Barrett. And then Ben Cochran in the number 388 kart, just behind them. Oh, and there's somebody running wide. That's behind Alicia Barrett, losing a place there. I think that may have been William Ellswood. Looks like a Coles Racing kart to me. Down the hill. There's the move. Barrett to the inside of Lay, and she makes the move stick. Now she chases off after Dominic Bush, and out of your picture, but just going to the back of your picture there under the bridge, there's Ross McDonald joining the party. A couple of laps late, but he's going to have a little play to make sure predominantly that whatever stops the kart going out is fixed. So that he's got confidence, and the team have got confidence that when they go out for their second heat and they want to start and they press the button and it starts and he rolls off. Change for second now. Sam Heading passes Tom Edgar. Moves into P2. Well, we've got 5 3/4 minutes of this race remaining, plus a lap, of course. The next time around, we'll get a gap between first and second because Sam Heading a 60.49 second lap last time around. Now, if he can prevent Tom Edgar from going back in on him to retake that position, Sam can then start focusing on the gap towards Georgi Dimitrov. And it looks like he's been able to do that because Edgar has been passed by Dominic Bush and has got Alicia Barrett and Alex Lay for company into the Mike Wilson complex. There's Barrett in the 333, followed by Lay in the 17. Edgar just in front of them, now in 4th place. So Dimitrov completes lap number 5. The gap between him and Sam Heading is 1.11 seconds. And last time around, Sam Heading, even though he had to pass a driver, he was a 10th quicker. So, can Dimitrov hold him off? Alicia Barrett was the quickest of all. 60.47 seconds. She pushes Edgar down to 5th. And Barrett moving up into P4. Through the second hairpin. And in the foreground, you can see photographer Chris Walker. Notable by the... you can tell it's sunny because you have to wear sunglasses when you look at the top of his head. Into the Mike Wilson complex. Barrett, Lay, Edgar, Ellswood, Cochrane. Then it is TJ McDonald at the back of that group. The gap back to Blake Anglis. You just saw McDonald flash through in the very brightly liveried kart of Anglis. Behind Anglis, it's the Hong Kong-based driver, Kiki Yuen. Followed by the number 45 of Oliver Phillips, the Red Rock Motorsport driver, as Dominic Bush now with the BMR restart machine, the Xenon chassis. He puts in the fast lap of the race. The gap between Georgi Dimitrov and Sam Heading is now 9/10 of a second. So you'll have to ignore the graphic for a moment because Sam Heading is quite clearly in second place. Although, as I say that, he looks up and there's a kart at the side of the circuit that's got number 57 on it. Sam Heading out of the race. So don't ignore the graphic. You've got Dominic Bush now 9/10 of a second behind Georgi Dimitrov. And Sam Heading is heading for the marshal post and not looking too pleased about it. I wonder if that was a mechanical issue because he was pulling away from the pursuing drivers, or the chasing pack rather. Bush had just had the fast lap of the race, but Sam was working on closing the gap. And there is that number 84 kart. That is that's a mum and dad special. That is, I don't care if there's 40 of you on the grid. Mum needs to know where you are at any given time, so we're going to paint that kart as bright as possible. We're even going to put a bright blue rear bumper on it. And it certainly does the trick as Blake Anglis goes into the second hairpin. The battle for second place on screen now. The 309 of Bush comes through the Mike Wilson complex. Barrett being pushed along by Alex Lay. They are all chasing Georgi Dimitrov, and the gap is coming down. Well, it's just gone up again. It was coming down. It's hovering between 8/10 of a second and 1 second. But every time that they make a bit of progress, Dimitrov responds a little bit. Alex Lay, 60.35 seconds, moves into 3rd place. And behind them, oh, there's a move. That is William Ellswood deciding that he wants past Alicia Barrett. So Tom Edgar coming back into play in the number 52 kart with that bright, luminous yellow and black crash helmet design. He has had a couple of laps where he faded to the back of this pack. Now he's moving forward again, the driver that started on the outside of the front row of the grid. Bush and Lay, second and third. Well, now Dimitrov has really gone. That battle, Alex Lay is the fastest kart on circuit now, but Dimitrov crossed the line, and the gap goes up by 1/10 of a second. Lay trying to push Bush up to the race leader, but they're on the banking. And it looks as though Dimitrov has done enough. 30 seconds to go. Into the first hairpin. Well, the battle is going to be on for second. I don't think they're going to get back to the start line before the clock strikes 0, so next time around, they're going to get the last lap board. Time now of the essence as Ellswood makes a move on Edgar at the second hairpin. Into the Fullerton S's. Lay doing everything he can to push that number 17 kart up. Well, push it into Dominic Bush and then push Bush up to the race leader. And the gap has come back down again by 1/10. So they're not giving up, although Dimitrov isn't going to have to defend. And pretty soon, well, or is he? It's 1.1 seconds. Alex Lay, it's going to be a positive result no matter what for Alex Lay, because the team know that, hey, when it comes to the business end of the race, that number 17 kart is quicker than anything else. So it's simply a case of spending the first 9 minutes or so getting yourself in a position where you can win. Dimitrov it's one of those races where you can't say, even though Dimitrov has literally led from start to virtually the finish, he hasn't been the strongest kart at any part of the race, because at every part he had a good start. Him and Edgar got away, but then Sam Heading was the quickest, then Alicia Barrett was the quickest, and then Alex Lay and Dominic Bush were the quickest, but they've tripped over each other, and this man has just minded his own business, got on with the task in hand, takes the checkered flag and the win by just under a second over Dominic Bush and Alex Lay, with Ellswood 4th, Edgar 5th, then Barrett, McDonnell, Cochran, Anglis, and rounding out the top 10, good result for Khaled Saab in the number 44 M Sport machine. And that concludes the first ever Mini X30 race at Kart Masters. Mini Max are up next. Then it's Senior OK. We look at Georgi Dimitrov go back to the pits. And we're back on track in just a few moments' time. Don't go away. Don't forget, over the lunch break, we will have a look at the tweets to see where you are watching the live stream from and who you are watching. And don't just say, I'm watching from home, because that's a bit silly. Give us a town, a country, a region, a continent. Be nice. And we'll see you very shortly.